welcome to the channel. Today we are going to be looking at a fantasy isekai anime called Devil is a Part-Timer. On the Sea of Ignora lay a cluster of 5 islands called 𝐇𝐻𝐈𝐒, ruled by one vicious devil lord, Satan. He wreaks havoc with his 4 loyal commanders, a Dreamlich, Lucifer, Alciel, and Malakota, until a hero wielding a sacred sword emerged, taking down his commanders and finally facing Lucifer himself. With defeat assured, Lucifer retreats with his last standing commander, Alciel, promising to return and retake 𝐇𝐻𝐈𝐒. The 2 defeated devils find themselves in the noisy city of Tokyo and in measly human bodies devoid of any dark magic. After being discovered by officers and taken to the station, Lucifer procures information about this world called Earth and with leftover magic, manages to forge official papers and rent a home owned by an uncanny landlady, My Kitty. Soon, Lucifer learns the downs of an unfed human body and is taken to the hospital where he realizes the importance of cash. Hence, faced with the lowly human life, he and Alciel take the name Mao and Ashia before getting down to make some resumes. As days follow, the 2 devils seem to have somewhat settled, surviving on Alciel's cooking skills and the hamburgers from Mao's workplace, 𝐔𝐷𝐉𝐻𝐿's. One day, Mao runs into a soaked red-haired girl, handing her his umbrella. He heads off to work where Mao's once again proved to be an outstanding employee and even gets a raise. After all, he's now planning to take over Japan and 𝐇𝐻𝐈𝐒 together. However, on his way back, he runs into the redhead. Only this time, the woman confronts him as the demon lord, reasoning that she had seen him trying to cast a spell to fix a friar. She reveals herself as the hero of 𝐇𝐻𝐈𝐒. Mao is surprised and stares back in fear only for the girl to whip out a 100-yen store-bought knife at him. I guess the sacred sword didn't make it. The violence ends them at the police station where the officer conveniently assumes them to be a couple in shambles. Haha. Just like Mao, the hero, under the name of Emi, has been settling into human life by working at a call center, 𝐷𝐶𝐻 customer service. She walks home doing all the lousy boring human things and grows irritated and finally arrives at Mao's. Ashia is visibly aghast to see Emi, who immediately starts berating the poor men's tiny abode. Emi explains how a high priest, Alba, was supposed to be with her but failed to make it through the portal in time. Following her, Mao also explains his evil plans, only for her to scoff and leave. But how can she let them be? Emi starts stalking the 2 and is unable to uncover any of their evil plans as the guys are only concerned about grocery sales, bathhouses, and trying out Ashia's humble creations. Irritated, Emi arrives at 𝐔𝐷𝐉𝐻𝐿's asking Mao to meet her, making his co-worker, Chiho, teem with jealousy. Strangely, Chiho mentions earthquakes before leaving. Nevertheless, the 2 𝐇𝐻𝐈𝐒ians meet at an intersection where Emi advises Mao to stay in the human world for the better when suddenly magic bullets try to snipe them. The 2 manage to run off. However, with Emi losing her wallet, the poor girl has to crash at the Devils. That night, Mao gets a text from Chiho asking for his advice. The next morning, Emi leaves, but she's perplexed over how the Devil Lord has become so kind and human-like. Strangely, at work, Emi receives an anonymous call, menacingly revealing plans to kill her and Lucifer for the better of 𝐇𝐻𝐈𝐒. Before she can even process it, Emi receives another call from the police station regarding the past night's attack. There, she runs into Mao and Ashia, irritated, but also informs them about the strange call before leaving. Nevertheless, Mao meets up with Chiho that evening and the 2 leave for a cafe. However, Ashia tails them and sure enough, runs into Emi. A girl knows a girl's thoughts and Emi's quite sure Chiho is down bad for Mao. While the 2 stalks, Chiho explains how she has been hearing a strange language indicating that a big earthquake is to come. Immediately, Mao suspects that the language is 𝐇𝐻𝐈𝐒 meant to communicate them through the ideal link method. The pulses from it are surely earthquakes. Lo and behold, just then Ashia and Emi burst through the door, making Mao spit his coffee out. He continues to nervously advise Chiho to not worry and just warn the people around once the earthquake comes when suddenly Emi interrupts. Very inconveniently, she interrupts just as Chiho's about to confess. She immediately notices her from the other day and a quarrel among the ladies ensues when suddenly an earthquake erupts. The 2 girls wake up to find themselves under rubble. Surprisingly, they patch up, but seeing the situation, Emi puts Chiho to sleep and calls out to Mao. To her surprise, Mao emerges in his demon form and for a second, Emi contemplates killing him. However, to her shock, he doesn't attack her but instead settles to help them out. Emi is baffled to see Mao protecting the civilians and reminisces about her father. At a young age, she was taken by the priests. As an angel child, Emi was the only one capable to defeat Satan. But just as she was taken, her village was burned and her father was killed under Satan's treachery, making her vow to end Satan. Suddenly, Emi snapped back to reality by Mao now in his human form, and the 2 discovered Chiho to be a police officer, Saki's daughter. However, before parting, Mao explains the earthquake to Emi, suspecting that it was all planned to take the 3 of them out together. He also realizes that the earthquakes are connected to 𝐊𝐒 since he first used his magic when he was taken to the station by Sasaki. After the incident, Emi crashes at her friend and co-worker, Rika's place, and she makes sure to tease her over Mao. If only she knew the reality. Soon, Emi returns to Mao's handing him 1,000 yen to even up only to fall down the stairs. Unusually, he and Ashia start looking after her. The treatment finally makes Emi burst, who breaks down questioning how an evil lord like him, who took everything of hers, suddenly becomes so kind. Hearing this, Mao apologizes, but before Emi can burst further, the door opens revealing 𝐊𝐒, who immediately runs away getting the wrong idea. Strangely, 𝐷𝐼𝐾𝐻 walks in cueing Mao to go after 𝐊𝐒 and holding him responsible for dragging a common girl in the 𝐂𝐈𝐒 drama. The three are visibly surprised to see this strange, seemingly human lady know about 𝐂𝐈𝐒 but hurry after. However, 𝐊𝐒 runs into a menacing devil. In an explosion, he spreads his dark wings, making Mao recognize him as one of his generals, Lucifer. Seeing Lucifer, it's almost painfully easy for Mao to deduce the situation. He cunningly exposes 𝐷𝐼𝐒 for promising Lucifer heaven in exchange for killing him and Emi to take over 𝐂𝐈𝐒. To Emi's horror, he's right and 𝐷𝐼𝐒 steps out. Irritated, the baldy fatally attacks Ashia as the two carrying him make a dash, only to be interrupted by Lucifer questioning why Mao's not wreaking havoc on Earth. Surprisingly, Mao no longer wishes to hurt this dimension. Hearing this, Lucifer and 𝐷𝐼𝐒 attack Mao fatally. And though he manages to teleport Ashia, Emi, and him to a crowded area, Mao falls dead. Poor Emi rushes to catch a fainted 𝐊𝐒 that Lucifer tosses, only to watch the guy collapse a whole bridge. Just as she thought it was over, the rubble started floating. Behind them, Mao, fueled by the spectators' horror at the scene, has transformed into his demonic form, and to aid him, Emi takes her hero form as well. With 𝐊𝐒 safe, Emi rises to face Lucifer, and luckily Ashia, now in his demon form, joins her. The two knock 𝐷𝐼𝐒 down for good, leaving Lucifer helpless, scum cleaned. Meanwhile, Mao finally rises, confronting his unfaithful dog, Lucifer. With eyes glowing red, he surely teaches the bad pupper a good lesson. It turns out Lucifer was the one calling Emi after he found her lost wallet. The group then introduces themselves to 𝐊𝐒 properly, and two of Emi's comrades, Albert and Imarato, arrive, hugging her. The cluster then crashes at Mao's, where Albert reveals he was the one sending the pulses to find Emi and warn her about 𝐷𝐼𝐒. The two are equally confused to see the Mao all soft, and he even restores the city, wiping off all the humans' memories. Lucky 𝐊𝐒, she gets to keep hers. Back at 𝐂𝐈𝐒, a girl reports about 𝐷𝐼𝐒's apostasy and the fake news he submitted about killing Emi and Mao to the church. The news erupts discussion among the priests, wondering what they should do. While back in Japan, Lucifer, under the name of Hanzo, moves in with Mao and Ashia. Lucky him, the demon lord isn't spanking the hell out of him. However, he's not all bad and is quite an internet geek. He even proves it by dropping a call to Emi at work. Hee. Clearly, Emi's enraged that the guys have sheltered Lucifer. Nevertheless, Ashia asks him to search for information, and sure enough, Lucifer discovers some doubtful paranormal activity at a school. That night, Mao returns to find the two guys collapsed after receiving a scandalous photo of My Kitty in Hawaii. Yikes. Once they are well, Lucifer tells them about the school, and the next day Ashia and Mao arrive, only to discover it's 𝐊𝐒's school. With her help, the guys make it inside once night falls, as 𝐊𝐒 explains the eerie sealed classroom. Though Mao's the demon lord, the guys visibly spooked and jumps at the phone ringing from Lucifer sitting at home. To their surprise, the three are joined by the one and only Emi, who had followed them. Finally, they end up before the sealed classroom, entering it to find empty snack packs and a PSP. The phone rings again, with Lucifer asking them to get the PSP, and it is then that the group realizes that the unfaithful dog has played them. He had arrived here through the portal with 𝐷𝐼𝐒 and accidentally left the PSP. Gloomed, the cluster exits school when 𝐊𝐒 notices a pack of udon on the ground. Later, Mao makes home after work when he strangely finds a girl at the door. Accidentally, she topples, falling right into his arms. The next day, the girl appears at Mao's door with a box of udon, introducing herself as a new tenant, Suzuno, and thanking them. Turns out, she has also received the scandalous My Kitty letters. Meanwhile, Emi receives a box of drinks from Imarato, claiming to rehabilitate her energy and magic upon consumption. Emi soon starts consuming the drinks, but she also resumes stalking Mao, and that's when she notices Suzuno helping Lucifer on the balcony. Enraged and worried that the Demon King's trapped another innocent girl, she stomps to have a closer look, only to get caught by Suzuno and fall into an oncoming Mao's arms. The dude gets the punch of his life. Nevertheless, inside, Suzuno suspects Emi and Mao are a couple and continue to watch them bicker, only for Emi to feel as if Suzuno also has a crush on Mao. She drags her outside, warning her to stay safe, and even hands her contacts, all while unaware that Suzuno's also from 𝐂𝐈𝐒. Unlike her, Suzuno has clearly recognized her. Later, once Mao leaves to start his promoted job as manager, he's handed a homemade bento by Suzuno to take along. Arriving at work, Ch-Hyo can't help but grow alarmed to see her beloved crush wielding another woman's bento. Meanwhile, Emi talks with Imurata over the phone, who informs him about the 𝐂𝐈𝐒 situation and the search for 𝐈𝐒. She warns her to stay safe since there might be some people on the lookout for her. Emi then makes it to a departmental store where strangely a man wielding scythe attacks her. Not just that, but his magic even nullifies her sacred sword. Though the drinks seem to have worked, the strange man runs off and Emi ends up at the police station where a panicking Ch-Hyo calls her, venting about the bento incident. If you liked the video, like and subscribe to the channel.